there is a character in the Counting Sheep who would be amazing as the star protagonist of a feature film. I actually genuinely want that to happen. This is an animated short film from 2016. It's directed by Katelyn Hagen and Michale. I apologise if I'm mispronouncing that. And the voice cast includes Adam Behr and Mack Sullivan. And it's about sheep, counting sheep. And it starts off with somebody turning off a lamp as if they're getting ready to go to sleep. And then it pans up and we see these sheep effectively in the sky. And then the bedpost, the end of a bedpost appears, and the sheep are all lined up and they start jumping over this post one by one, as of course the person down below is counting them to try and get to sleep. And then something happens, and I will, with a spoiler warning, explain what happens, and then I'll explain the message that I thought we were being given, and then it went in a different direction, and I really loved it. And I love this particular sheep, who I'll talk about in a moment. But to sum up before I go into spoiler details, it's a beautiful concept. The animation is so stunning, including the sheep. The sheep look amazing, but I love the grass. When we first see the grass, when we pan up to meet the sheep, there was just something about it that's so gorgeous. And the sky is very much in the background, by which I mean it doesn't capture the attention too much, but in a way that's really good because it's subtle. But when you take the time to look at it, I did watch this twice because I needed that sheep again. But when I was watching it the second time, of course, I was paying more attention to the background and trying to pick up details that I didn't notice when I was enjoying it for the first time. And I thoroughly recommend you do the same because the sky is so stunning. It didn't capture my attention the first time I watched this because I was so engrossed in the sheep. But once you notice it, it is absolutely gorgeous. And we have the sheep jumping over, and it's a simple concept, but very beautifully executed and really funny as well. I just was not expecting it to be funny. I didn't expect to completely fall in love with a sheep, but I did. And if this sheep, I'm assuming it doesn't, but if this sheep ever gets its own feature film, I will be the first person to see it to the best of my ability because it's amazing. So definitely check it out if you have not even 3 minutes to spare. It's just wonderful. I will now explain, with a spoiler warning, what happens, and then the various messages that, well, as I said, I thought we were going down one route and then we went somewhere else, and it just ultimately ended up being so delightful. So spoilers from now. The sheep are jumping over one by one and they get to number 99. The 99th sheep jumps over, and number 100, who has been desperately waiting in line, trying to get to that front spot, is about to jump, and then obviously the person down below has fallen asleep. So they don't get to jump properly and they fall down. And they realise that if they just flip their numbers upside down, they could be number 1. They could be the first sheep to jump, so this wouldn't happen again. And I thought, okay, the message here is about turning a negative into a positive. The negative is that he is number 100. I assume he doesn't get to jump often because people fall asleep before that. But he's turned it around. He's looked at his number and decided to change perspectives. And I had that message for about 5 seconds. And then the sheep decided to lock the number 1 sheep in a cupboard. It might have been a toilet. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but he locked the sheep in there. And we're talking gaffer tape and nails and everything. And then I realised, okay, that's not the right thing to do. So that's clearly not the message that we have. And he shaves off the 2 zeros, so he just has the 1. And he's about to jump. He's first in line. And then we hear somebody saying 100. And one of the sheep point out that they have a backwards counter. I have never tried counting sheep backwards. I don't count sheep, it doesn't work for me, but I've never tried counting backwards, and I might do at one point. But obviously, this person counts backwards. There is no number 100 because he's shaved himself. He's removed the zeros. There is no 100 sheep. So I'm thinking the message there, and I think there are different ways of reading it. The first message is don't cheat to be number 1 because it's not going to work out. But also everybody gets their chance to shine. And maybe this sheep didn't get to jump for other people who counted up from 1. but there will be a time when you are needed. So be true to who you are. Be true to your number 100, because somebody will need you. And if you pretend to be something you're not going to be there for somebody who really needs you. And maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I'm getting too deep. But when I thought I knew what the message was, I was obviously consciously thinking about, instead, what we were receiving. And ultimately, above all of that, we have this amazing sheep. And I love the character. Really adored this sheep. Don't necessarily agree with all of his actions, but I love him. And if that sheep is ever the protagonist of a feature film, it would be incredible. The Counting Sheep is a brilliant film with gorgeous animation and a rather wonderful character as well. And needless to say, I absolutely recommend it.